Yo, what's up, you guys? Been on fire here, back with a video, and today we're going to be bringing you guys the part 2 to this gun tight slot open formation. Yesterday I posted a gameplay where I was kind of labbing this and trying a new style of video. It was a post commentary where I was pretty much labbing this formation for the first time. So I was just trying out new setups and things like that. You guys showed a lot of love on that video. You enjoyed it, so you wanted me to kind of hop into practice mode, which I said I would, and show some of the setups in fuller depth because, again, there wasn't much explaining, and again, I at most ran each setup 1 or 2 different times. So we're going to hop in, show some of these setups, not everything, but we'll show most of the setups that I liked to run. And yeah, that video I posted yesterday, you can go back and watch it, or I'll put it probably in the description or the comment section pinned for you guys to go check out. Now, let's get into the audibles. What I like to have are Aggie. You're going to have RPO zone peak, you're going to have bench, and then you're going to have PA read. As far as some of the other plays we ran in the video, we also ran this wheel switch on the left-hand side, which you can't see. The other play that we ran was bench switch on the left side, which you also can't see, so that's cool. But those are 2 plays we ran maybe a couple of times. Those turned out not to be the best plays. So again, might show them, might not. Again, we also ran this base one time right there at the bottom. That play was decent, but not good enough for us to really show. So let's start out with this RPO zone peak. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys drop a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, and follow all of my links down there as well. It's the best way if you ever have any questions to hit me up there. Usually we'll respond quicker there. Sometimes the comments, I do not see them. So that is, of course, going to be a little bit better for you guys. Now, the way you want to run this, I mentioned this in the video, is you want to run your tight end on the short side of the field. You want these receivers as spread. You want as much space to work with these guys as you possibly can. That's the main reason behind it. So just taking a look. And this is a unique, very unique formation. It's a kind of a compressed / not compressed formation. So none of these guys are actually on the outside. I can motion Mooney out. You see he's going to motion out pretty far from that slot side. And I can also motion out, or not Goodwin accidentally did that, but you can actually kind of flip these guys, which is cool. But you can also motion out Robinson. You notice he is not in the outside either. You can motion him out, and he's going to go past the numbers. So that's 2 kind of cool things with this. Again, it's a very slot-heavy formation, but actually with this player, he gets the outside. He is, for whatever reason, considered an outside wide receiver, so you can't put him on hitches, you can't put him on flats. You can put him on these deeper routes. So since he has outside apprentice, that's something that we're going to use a little bit later for some of the setups. But for now, we're going to run it. Now, since I motioned Mooney out and motioned him back in, he's actually stuck on this hitch, so that's a little bit fun, but not really something that you would generally want to do. Now, starting out with this RPO, it's going to, of course, depend on the formation that you're going against defensively. In this particular one, there's these guys right here. I'm generally not going to expect Robinson to be open, especially with this linebacker on the left. For whatever reason, I can't even ID him, but it's that inside backer on the left, the one that has the P over him. And that is, of course, the player that you're reading in the pass, hence the P. But you're going to read him. And, of course, the slot cornerback, since he stays inside, it's going to be an easy read to that flat wide receiver. So, I mean, you're pretty much only hurting yourself by just running an inside zone instead of running the RPO. The RPO spreads a lot of people, you know, just opens up a lot of gaps in the run game, which is only going to help you once again. So you'll notice with pretty much everybody on the left, it's going to immediately take them out of the run play, and really all you're losing is your wide receiver blocking, which with this particular RPO, you would only run it to the right side anyway, and there would be a very low, slim to none chance that you're going to actually cut it back regardless. Now, I do like that Justin Fields is throwing motion on this. I think most QBs get this type of a throwing motion. I believe Allen does as well from what I've seen. But you just kind of wait, and they get this cool, quick animation. Again, he doesn't have Gunslinger or anything. With Gunslinger, I'm sure you could get the ball out quicker, but it is a pretty quick handoff animation. Now, again, I ran this a lot. If you want to see some instances where I threw it to Robinson, you can definitely check out that last video, or I might even throw some clips in. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to throw in some clips just because, you know, it was yesterday. It wasn't like it was a week ago, but yeah, I mean, just a pretty good run. Of course, if they're in things like 2-4-5 odd, that's where you can really kill them with the inside zone. In this particular team, they have inside stuff, so of course it's not going to be as good, but that's where, if you notice, they get an instant shed. you can kind of hold on to this thing a little bit longer. I see him shed, and then I can actually wait a good amount of time to do that. Now, as far as the quarterback run, that was something that I didn't really do or like with Justin Fields. It is something that, again, it's just not good out of this particular formation. I'll try out the kind of pump fake thing, and you see, just get a weird look. Just trust me, this particular one, you're not really going to want to do it. It doesn't really have a good... Running these read options to the wide receiver side typically doesn't work, so we're going to kind of stay away from that. But that's pretty much it for these RPO. We're going to move into our next play, which will be the Aggie. So immediately with this Aggie play, we got a couple of setups. And one thing I want to let you guys know is that these icons will be different in this formation. So you have a couple of different icons. The first one being the tight end. So the tight end, usually A in every other formation. He's going to be A, but this one he's Y, so that's going to be something that you got to catch on to. Slot receiver is going to be A, so those are the only two that are flipped. Also, I forgot to say this is in the spread playbook, so hopefully I didn't already get 20 comments asking me which playbook it is in, but it is in spread playbook. First setup is just going to be simple. We're just going to streak X. We're going to go put running back on this out to the right, and this is something that I did a ton. You'll see this in the other setups as well, but we just went ahead and did this. Now with X, I could also post him if I have the outside apprentice, but if it were flipped, I wouldn't generally be able to do that. So this is just going to be... We're just going to go ahead and streak him, just like so. This was the setup that we ran in-game. And this is just a basic setup. Here we got this little flat that kind of sits in a nice spot, especially against heavy zone coverage. Even if I wanted to, something I believe I could do, maybe I can like out him like this. I don't know if this would work. We're just kind of trying things on the fly. This would probably open him up a little bit. But I mean, yeah, a lot of this offense, and you saw that yesterday, was opening up the running back underneath. We threw to Montgomery a lot throughout the game. And it's definitely something that you're going to want to take advantage of. A lot of these plays I threw out the delay fade. And that's just because we have it. I mean, in a formation with such good blocking, you have a running back, you have a tight end, you're going to take advantage of delay fades similar to things like bunch and bunch tight end. Of course, this corner out's not the best. You don't have the most space on this short side of the field. But depending on the coverage, it could get open. So don't necessarily abandon it. Another setup would be something like this. Option RB. Now you have two hooks, and you see when you throw out that other option, it's going to open up that slot receiver a lot more. So that is certainly an option. Now the one that I scored a touchdown on running this play was going to be where we deep posted X, I believe. We went ahead and delay fade Y. We dragged A, and then we put Montgomery on this out to the left. So this was the setup we scored the touchdown on. The main man coverage beater. I'll put in the clip hopefully right here. If not, then I'm just kind of talking for no reason, but this is nice. It's a very good play against man coverage. You have really 4 routes that should beat man coverage: the out, the drag, the post, and the corner. They should all be very well. If it's zone, you know where you're going. You're probably going underneath unless they're playing some kind of a hard flat defense, which would probably be unlikely, at least based on how people play the game this year. And of course, you still have the late play option. So this one, you're kind of going to need the outside apprentice. If you don't have it, I mean, you could streak him, accidentally put Montgomery to the wrong side there. But overall, nice little play with this Aggie. Let's hop into the next play now. All right, the next play is going to be the PA read, and this honestly might be my favorite play in the offense, besides the out RPO. But just taking a look at what we have here, we have a lot of cool routes. My favorite being probably Jimmy Graham's route as far as being able to maximize the spread of the offense. And we have a couple of other interesting routes. We have this route with Robinson. It's actually kind of cool because it is from the slot, so that I've seen that get open. If I put in the clip, if I put in at least one clip, you'll probably see that Darnell Mooney got wide open on this, and I just missed my read and checked it down. But the setup I like is going to be slanting A and putting the running back on the out route. This is generally, I think, the only setup I really ran, and that's just because it's so good now. As long as Montgomery doesn't get hit like that and gets to the outside, it should be fine. Of course, with running back apprentice, you could table route him if need be, but I don't think that was necessarily be needed here. I don't know, maybe it's just the formation, but you have this crosser with a tight end, half decent. He's going to get there faster than Jimmy Graham would. Since we're using the Bears, of course, Jimmy Graham is going to be slow as dirt. Another problem I have with this a little bit, it's not necessarily a problem with a fast tight end, but with a slow guy, you definitely notice it. It's the fact that Jimmy Graham's just running from the short side of the field all the way to the wide side. It's going to take him longer. If it were flipped in a perfect situation, it wouldn't take him as long, but that's something I just noticed in practice mode. In game, you're probably going to mainly look for your quick reads. Your first reads in this should generally be the slant and the out route with Montgomery. You're going to look there quickly. If one of them's open, you're going to take it. I see Montgomery wide open. We're going to take that route. So should be pretty simple stuff. Right there, of course, late in the play, you have your deep post. You have that streak potentially open. But this is just a nice setup. I know some of these setups were a lot 4-man protection. This one's a nice 5-man or 6-man protection. This one's a nice 5-man protection for you guys. All right, hopping into our next setup, we got bench, and here we have, again, a couple of setups. Now, I don't remember particularly while I ran these, but you could actually run this stock. It's going to be solid. You have an out, you have a hitch. Generally, what I like to do is going to be motion this hitch out if you can. This isn't something I did in game, but it's something, again, I noticed in practice mode, which, of course, that game was just labbing, so you can't necessarily expect too much out of it. This is what a stock cover 3 looks like against it. And pretty much the setup that I ran in game was like this. We optioned RB and we ran pretty much everything else stock. But when you notice this, you're going to notice how close these guys are. It's not good. It allows somebody to use both of them. So, I mean, in game it wasn't as bad when I actually ran the play bench. And the reason for that was because my option route bounced inside the left tackle and left guard. But because now he's going to the outside, you can notice it a lot. So if you were running this setup, I would recommend trying to motion out Robinson if you can. Won't necessarily be a tell, but it'll help only you in the long run because you have so much more space to throw it to A-Rob and turn it up the field ultimately. So highly would recommend doing it that way. Our next setup is going to be to streak B, and then we're going to throw Montgomery on this little underneath route. So this is the setup we ran. Again, I could still motion Robinson out for the setup. The hitch would be open, though, without the option route, so there's not necessarily a huge reason to do that. This is going to do two different things. It's going to, A, open up the running back probably more than you would on the option route. It's going to, B, open up Jimmy Graham on that corner route a lot more. So, of course, you got to look deep on these corner routes. They will be open, but you got to be careful because, you know, you can throw picks on these if you're not careful. So if they're playing super far over the top, then you can check down. But if you're able to roll out, it's going to be a lot more open. It's going to be a lot easier throw to convert. So if you can roll out, I know rolling out to the left in this case is a lot less likely just because you have kind of these routes flooding to the right. But if you still can, you notice that corner out can't get open. I really don't like the way Goodwin runs his route, rather. And you'll notice something I actually did in game. I don't remember the exact setup I did, but I actually motioned Marquise across the formation. I think I might have streaked X, you know, did something like this, delay fade. I think this was actually the setup I ran, if I remember correctly. We slanted B, we blocked, or yeah, I definitely ran this setup, but notice how deep Marquise Goodwin runs. We're going to scramble out. Just look how deep he is. And then you consider the fact that that's a corner out. It's not going to be really good as a corner out, but as this setup, it can actually be pretty good. So I believe on that setup in-game, I went ahead and I threw it to Darnell Mooney on his slant route, if I remember correctly. This is, again, one of those nice 6-man protections we have. And if you can scramble out to the left, you can actually hit this route super deep, and you notice how the clear out from the slot does a really good job of opening things up. The slant's going to pull down the zones. So that's actually a really good route. But as far as using Goodwin as a corner route, even if I streak Robinson, I'm not sure if this would be the best, but I could run it like this. This is not my favorite setup because I would like to have another underneath threat generally. But if I wanted to, I think, Goodwin's going to be opened up. So if you can run it like that, or if you want to, you can run it like that. That's pretty much going to do it for the video. Again, there were a couple of other setups, plays that we ran. If you want to see those, again, check out the gameplay. I've said it a lot, but that will show some more stuff, and it probably shows some setups that I'm missing as well. Again, I don't remember exactly what I did yesterday, so you can't really blame me, but that's going to do it for the video. If you enjoy these style of videos where I go with the gameplay, and then after we go with the practice mode video, I would definitely consider doing it in the future with more of these formations, so let me know down below. But other than that, we're going to call it there. If you enjoyed, drop a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, and peace. I'm out of here.